Hey guys, I'm going to walk you guys through how I made the brackets that I use for spider rigging from my Native Slayer Max coming up. Just get outside and do something awesome. Alright guys, so I was searching for a way to spider rig, and it's about to get into prime spider rigging season in Kentucky where I live. Whenever it gets cold out, these fish bunch up a lot, and you'll see tons of crappie boats on the water with 8 rods in the water, just like craziness. So I'm going to show you how I built these brackets that are on my kayak. Alright, so this is the bracket here. If you look on right here, I've got an R stating that it goes on the right side because I made a specific one for either side. I don't know, this is just kind of the shape that I came up with here that I felt like worked the best on my kayak. So all it is the base of this white part is actually made up of, this is a composite board here. So it's just a composite board. It's all the way through composite. And I had this left over from a home project, so I didn't have to go out and buy it, but you can get it at Lowe's or Home Depot. This is just a 1x6, I think is what size this is, probably 1x6. And what I did is I looked at the kayak and I kind of figured out what I figured would be the best shape. And when we head over to the kayak, I'll discuss why I chose this shape. What I wanted is when this is, so I usually back it up to about here to on my kayak where you have this little cutout here for a tackle box. And then I'm going to tighten it down. All right, so now I got it tightened down. And the reason why I chose this size is it's flush with the back. On this side, it doesn't stick out off the side, but then you also, this rod's out here a little further, so you can really get those rods out in front of the kayak. So you have this one that's offset a little bit to the outside, and then this one is closer to the inside. And what that allows you to do is have your rods end up really pretty close together. And I can either, you know, put one out front, I can space this one out a little more. I can kind of adjust it and be able to adjust how much of a spread of water I'm covering when I'm using my spider rig. And so I did make one for this side and I made one for the other side. All I've got on here is some basic rod holders from Amazon. These rod holders, I originally got the wrong angle. So I got the wrong angle and they were too far up off the water. So whenever you would look at those rod tips, they'd be like way up off the water and it just didn't work well. You want those rod tips about a foot from the top of the water, is like what I'd say, foot and a half at most. So I had to go back and buy a different angle. So I am going to link all these down in the description below so that you guys can be able to reproduce this. So I just used a saw and I cut out this shape, and then I spaced out my rod holders so that my rods wouldn't hit each other. As far as how it's attached to the kayak, I've got these Yak Attack T-bolts that I use to integrate it into the rail system. I think this one's about 1.5 inches long. And then I've got these thumb screws here. These ones are actually from Lowe's. Whoops. So you can actually use the Yak Attack ones, but these ones are actually a little bit bigger and I can really cinch them down. Once you have your board cut out, I cut a hole in here with a drill, and that hole size is just large enough to where this 1/4 inch bolt on this T-bolt will slide right in, and it's not loose. See, like if I go like that, it's not loose to where it'll fall out. I'll try to remember what size I did that and put it in the video here. But then once you got it in there, you just put this thumb screw on and screw it down. And then you just want to leave it a little bit loose so that when you go to put it on the kayak, you have some space. These rod holders are put on here. It's got a base on it, and these rod holders actually unscrew from the base. So I'm going to do that and show you all what that looks like. All right, so you see there, you've got the base. And what I did is I just took some regular, these are actually, oh, what kind of screws are these? These are actually something I had just sitting around. It's Hardy backer board screws. And I screwed those through. They're 1 inch long. And you can see they just barely protruded out the back here. So I just took a grinder, or you could take like a file and file those down so the points of those screws aren't on the back. And then these just screw in. All right, and that's basically it. So let's head over to the kayak and I'm gonna show you how to actually put it on the kayak. All right guys, so when it comes to installing this, you've got the mighty bolt or the T-bolts down here on the bottom. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna slide that T-bolt in. I've got to see how loose it is. And that's so that I allow room to be able to fit it on there. So I'm just gonna slide that down in there. So that one's in. And then I'm just gonna line up this other one with my fingers and make sure it's straight. And then I'm just gonna slide that one in. Once you got it in, you can kind of tighten it down a little bit. I don't tighten it down all the way because I'm gonna scoot it back still. But then, like if you look at these rod holders, they have a little wing nut on the bottom. So what you can use that for is to set your angle. So if I put that one about right there, and that's usually about the angle that I use them at. But I look forward to using these in the winter time. So I have gotten these out and tested them and they work great. But just like in the conditions that I've been fishing in, spider rigging really hasn't been delivering for me like I would have hoped. But I think once we get into this winter and these fish really bunch up, these are gonna work great for me. All right guys, so hopefully this helps you out today. If you've ever spider rigged from a kayak, please let me know in the comments below. Before I had this pedal drive, I probably wouldn't have even tried spider rigging because the thought of trying to paddle with a paddle and then have all those rods out would have just not even been manageable. But with the pedal drive, I can move around and then I can still use my hands to catch fish, to manipulate my graph or my sonar. So without a pedal drive, I really don't think I could do this. And then like this Native has all these track mounts on here, so it makes it really easy. And if I'm out bass fishing and I'm really not looking at crappie fishing, I can just take these off. So that's super convenient. But as always guys, I appreciate you guys watching. Don't forget, get outside, do something awesome. Take somebody with you if you get a chance. And I'll see you guys in the next video.